Hello and welcome back. I am Dictorus, and this is episode 4. Before we get started here, I took a bunch of you guys' advice. First and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to watch and give me some feedback. That is super helpful. Thank you so very much. I'm trying really hard to incorporate all of the advice, like warping to the gate at 10, making the video shorter. As you can see, I kind of took out those hokey 30-second intros that I was always doing. That way we can just get into brawls, have it just be fights, nothing, that I don't need to waste so much time, gabbing about dumb junk like I am right now. Anywho, first fight. This did not go as I expected. I like to start off all of my videos with a death, apparently, and this is mine. I don't have links, I don't have a fleet or anything like that. These guys do, but I really didn't think that a Tristan and a Comet and 2 Tristans would be that much of a challenge. Boy, was I wrong. One of the biggest mistakes that I made in this fight was the fact that my guns never hit. Not even one time. They're the smallest variant of the medium blasters, but with Loki links and an afterburner, that Comet is just going to be buzzing around, and he's not even going to be close to slow or big enough size for me to actually get some hits on him. So I don't know that reserving or not firing my medium guns would have saved me enough cap to keep my reps going. There was obviously some cap mismanagement in this fight as well. Just did not go well. I think I was flying the Vexor for a total of maybe 20 minutes before I found that fight. A couple other really big things that I didn't do was lock up the other Tristans when they got close. I should have locked them up. I should have blasted them down because they would have been much easier targets. Even if they were the armor variety, which they look like they were, all of the newt pressure from the Tristans, and the Comet had a newt as well, really just took me down super fast, and I only had one cat booster fit, so missing the timing with the cat booster as well as having those newting ships on top of me really zonked me down pretty quick. This next fight, I didn't start recording fast enough. I jump into the system, and I see that there is one Galente dude and a couple Caldari guys, as well as some flashies in local. I pick them up on scan at this large complex, and I just warp straight in. I land at the same time as Incursus. Lucky for him, he manages to warp off before I can lock him and tackle him down. I don't know if you just noticed, but one of the things that I started doing for the first time in my EVE career is I started using drugs. Now, normally I wouldn't recommend drugs for anyone, but in the context of EVE, they're super helpful, and I got really lucky with the RNG for these drugs, because every single time there's a possibility that you can take a hit to your capacitor, you can take a hit to your actual armored hit points, and every time I got missile explosion velocity, I believe, which in no way, shape, or form affects my ship. So I'm just getting a free 20% hit point rep every time I use my reps. To set this fight up, what I wanted to do was to separate this Jackdaw with the Incursus. I know I can nuke down an Incursus really fast. I'm not sure about the Jackdaw. I've never fought one before in a Vexor, so I was a little hesitant to just burn in there and start brawling down, and I had an MWD, so you might as well split them up. That way you can get 10 or 15 seconds of time between one ship getting on top of you. I'm getting better at managing all the flashy buttons on the Vexor, but you can see right here it does take me a little while to get my drones aggroed, which is my primary source of DPS, so definitely not what we're looking for. But he is concentrating on my drones, so I can probably stop repping. Of course I don't right away, and I over rep, wasting precious capacitor, which I probably shouldn't. So now I play the game of chucking out drones, pulling them back in, chucking out drones, pulling them back in, which isn't exactly my favorite thing to do in EVE, but if you're gonna fly Galente ships, you better get used to it. So the Incursus comes back, and I tried to lock him up at first, and I think that he just had an invul time where you can see that he sat not doing anything for a little while, and I wasn't able to lock him. And I do have a little bit of spaghetti when it comes to the drones. It's just something I got to keep practicing, keep getting better. This Incursus makes a beeline into me, so I figure, hey, I can't really nuke down this Jackdaw, so I might as well switch targets. I get my scrambling web on him before I activate my guns, so I don't want him getting chickening out or anything. I want him to get nice and close, which is what he does. And I have small blasters fit. That's one of the big things that changed between the first fight and the second fight was because of the horrible tracking ability. Even though they're blasters, the mediums just did not track those little targets well enough. I figured, hey, I might as well pop them down to the small guns and see if I can't do something better with that. I even toyed around with a fit that was all newts and then 2 cat boosters in the mids, but you lost a prop mod, and I really like having mobility as an option because dictating range is a super important aspect of this game. So he goes down, and for some reason the Jackdaw starts pulling range on me, and I think, well, I'm not going to be able to fight a Sentinel and a Jackdaw and a Condor, so I'm just going to boogie out. Well, obviously it turns out they're all fighting each other, and if I would have stayed, I bet you anything we would have killed that Jackdaw, but, you know, I wussed out and warped off towards the sun, made a safe spot, and buggered off for a bit. I did end up warping back to this complex from a different angle, landing with that same Incursus again from the very beginning of the fight. He, of course, warped off. And tried to kill the Condor and the Sentinel and everything, but the Vexor's just way too slow. And I have a scram, so I have to get within, 9 or 10 kilometers overheated in order to slow them down, to get the webs and, have my drones catch up to them. I managed to force them off the field, which I don't know that I should have, because they were killing the Jackdaw, and the enemy of my enemy is my friend. But, whatever. Decisions were made, and that's what I ended up doing. It was a target of opportunity. I just went with what I thought I could get. And I didn't really want to get within scram range of the Jackdaw again. And he was sitting in defensive mode, so he was real slow, so I just kind of kited around him. And alright, and then finally, this last fight. It goes. I don't know that I'd say it went well. Watching it back a few times made me realize that I did make quite a few mistakes. I did like the fact that I started killing drones right off the bat because he had those big Ogre 2s, which is a ton of DPS, and as you can see, my armor just goes just getting melted. On the warp into this fight, I opened up my cargo to consume some drugs, and I forgot them, which actually would have made a huge difference. This fight was pretty close. I managed to make it happen. There were, people warping in and out. The fight drug on forever, it seemed. I think it was only like a total of maybe 5 minutes. But that's 5 minutes of pure micromanagement, making sure that every time you're using your ancillary armor rep that it's overheated or overloaded. Overheated, yeah, that's the right term. Making sure that my drones aren't going to be dying faster than his drones. This, that, and the other thing. There is another Gallente guy in here, and he actually uncloaks in a bomber, and that's huge. First and foremost, because his torpedoes are actually going to do a pretty decent amount of damage to this Vector, which is a cruiser hull, so it's going to have a little bit bigger of a signature radius. But also the fact that this Vector is just sitting at like super slow speeds. It's going to allow his torpedoes, which normally wouldn't do a ton of damage against a cruiser. It's going to do pretty much as full because he's not moving and not avoiding any of that. Using his velocity to kind of mitigate some of the missile damage. He switches over to Acolytes, and this is actually, I think, when the bomber uncloaked. I didn't even know what was happening. I was so zeroed in on trying not to die, and I could not figure out how this guy was tanking so much. We're both, small blast fit. It turns out that he's actually triple rep fit, so he's got 2 medium reps as well as an ancil rep. And right here was a huge moment. You can see that my rep's on reload, so I know right now I've got to keep that medium rep running like crazy, because I need 60 seconds to reload that thing, and if it doesn't get the reload done, that's half of my repping power just gone. So I'm doing everything that I can to keep it up. You can see that once I hit like a little bit under 50% armor, I start overloading again. Yeah, just such a nerve-wracking experience. I don't know how people do this all the time. Like, Mr. Hyde, you watch his videos and he goes around in these super expensive ships, like $1 billion ISK or something. This is only 30 million, and I'm sitting here, you know, palms are sweaty, knees are weak, you know. But it just amazes me at how good some people are at this game, and it also makes me feel like maybe I'm getting there, but man, do I have a lot of work to do. On that same note, there's a lot to be said about just the persistence and not letting yourself get down and out about, you know, losing ships. Right before this fight, after I was tussling with that Jackdaw and the Incursus and the Cow Mill guys over in that other system, which was like 2 jumps away from here, they left local, and I was sitting at a safe spot, like repping modules or something, and I figured, oh well, there's just one Cow Mill guy left, so I'm just gonna warp back to the complex and snag my drones. I mean, they're medium drones, so it's a couple mil, right? So I warp in there, and of course, what's there but a Garmer sitting 50 kilometers off me, and he tackles me, and even with an overloaded prop mod, I can't slingshot him enough to break that disruptor range, and he's going, you know, over 5 kilometers a second, just orbiting me at 50 kilometers, so there wasn't anything I was going to be able to do. He just slowly killed my drones, and I finally just stopped repping and just let him kill me. I was out of cat boosters anyway. It wasn't like I was going to live forever, but I just, it was frustrating because it took him so long to kill me, and I had absolutely no chance of ever getting away because of his higher agility and speed and range and everything like that. But I didn't let it frustrate me. That was the point I was trying to make. You can't sit there and give up, even though you're losing ships after ship after ship. This is another pivotal part in the fight, when this Hookbill shows up. The enemy Vexor had been pretty good about driving that Nemesis off the field, that bomber that was helping me out, and so I figured I better repay him in kind, and I switched my drones over to the Hookbill. I then realized that he switched his drones over to the Hookbill. I think, well, that's pretty odd. So I put my drones back on him, and I figured, well, the Hookbill's shooting him as well, so I guess I'm just going to double down on putting everything on the Vexor and just seeing if I can't, you know, finish him off. He's in half full. He's probably got to be running really low on cat boosters, so I figured just put it all in and see if I can't zonk him down, which ends up being the case. This is one of my last capacitor reloads as well, my cat booster reloads. When it reloads, I believe it only comes back with 1 charge, which would have meant, oh, I can't even see it. Yeah, well, 1 charge. So it meant that I was like right at the end anyway. So this was do or die time. I've got tons of heat damage on all my modules, and you know, I got to get him killed and then somehow burn out of range of this Hookbill, because now you see the point switch is over. I just put my drones on him and start burning towards him. I think he notices that I've got MWD, and he just says, no thanks, there's no way that a Hookbill is going to kill a Vexor, in a perfect world at least, and he just warps off. Absolutely wonderful fight. I do feel bad for the guy that I was fighting, because it ended up being like a staggered 3v1. But that's how brawling goes. You commit and hope to win because you're not getting out. Alright, that's it for episode 4. Put the fit up just here really quick if you want to take a peek. This is the one with the small blasters. Just one last time, thank you guys so much for watching the videos and giving me feedback. It definitely has been helping me to improve and do things that are going to get people to enjoy them a little bit more. I'll be making more, so feel free to stop by again later and come check them out. Thanks, guys.